Hello students. In continuation with the previous lecture on wear, in this lecture we will discuss about the fatigue wear. So there are two conditions which are responsible for fatigue wear. One is the change in the uh, motion between the two surfaces, that is repeated rolling and sliding, and second is the change in the loading condition or change in repeated loading and unloading cycles. So subsurface and surface fatigues are observed during repeated rolling and sliding without or negligible friction, and second is the repeated loading and unloading cycles to which these materials are exposed will lead to the formation of subsurface or surface cracks, and ultimately this surface cracks will propagate, uh, and after a critical number of cycles will result in the breakup of the surfaces, and this breakup of the surface will form large fragments of the material which leave behind the large pits in the surface. So this phenomena of having pits in the surface is called pitting. So to calculate the damage due to fatigue wear, it is much more relevant uh, to use the life in terms of number of evolution or the time before fatigue failure rather than the material removed by fatigue wear. Now, the chemically enhanced deformation or the chemically active environment or corrosive environment results in increased wear of the surface or increased wear in the surface due to fracture in static and dynamic conditions. Now, we can see from this diagram that from a Hertz elastic stress analysis, you can see the maximum compressive stress takes place at the junction of the two surfaces, but the maximum shear stress takes place at some distance from the or below the surface. So you can see the variation of principal shear stress at various depths directly below the point of contact of two hard surfaces in either pure rolling mu is equal to 0, pure sliding mu is having high value, and combined contact, that is mu is having moderate value. So the z is the distance below the surface in the vertical direction, a is the half of the adjacent diameter. So this is the analysis which will tell us about the distribution of stresses from point of contact to the below depth below the surfaces. Now the another type of wear which is called the impact wear. So the impact wear, uh, there are two types which are called erosive and percussive impact wear. The erosion generally occurs by jet and streams of solid particles, liquid droplets, and implosion of bubbles formed in the fluid. So this is totally a phenomena where the particles are involved, or the jets and streams of the particles are involved, either liquid or solid. Whereas the percussion occurs from repeated solid body impacts, and repeated impacts results in progressive loss of solid material. So there is an impact of this type of particles on the surfaces results in the impact wear. There is another kind, chemical wear, which is due to the corrosive environment around the two solid surfaces. So the chemical or corrosive wear occurs when sliding takes place in a corrosive environment. In air, the most dominant corrosive medium is oxygen. So therefore, chemical wear in air is generally called oxidating wear. Chemical wear requires both chemical reactions and rubbing, and the corrosion can occur because of the chemical or electrochemical interaction of the interface with the environment. So this is a totally environmental phenomena where you are exposing the surfaces to the corrosive environment. The chemical corrosion occurs in a highly corrosive environment and high temperature and high humidity environment. So these are the factors which are responsible for this type of corrosive wear. Chemical wear is important in number of industries which are involved in either mining, mineral processing, chemical processing, and slurry handling. So this is an important type of wear. Now, as far as electric arc induced wear is concerned, this is between the this happens between the two sliding surfaces when the air film is thin and a dielectric breakdown takes place between the two surfaces, which leads to the arcing between the two surfaces. So this arcing is takes place due to a relatively high power density, order of 1 kilowatt per mm square, built up between the two surfaces, and this built up is for a very short period of time of around 100 microseconds. So this will create a dielectric background and arcing between the two surfaces. So the heat effective zone is usually very shallow, around 5 to 50 micrometers. The heating results in considerable melting and subsequent resolidification, corrosion, hardness change, and other phase changes even in the direct ablation of material. So there are different phenomena will take place when this arcing will be sustained between the two surfaces. Arcing causes large crater, and any sliding or oscillation after an arc, either shear or fracture the lips, leading to three body abrasion, corrosion, surface fatigue, and fatigue. So this different type of wear can occur after the arcing takes place. Arcing can thus initiate several modes of wear, resulting in catastrophic failures in electrical machinery. So, as I said, there are different wear mechanisms that can be initiated by this arcing. Now, there are methods to minimize this arc-induced wear by eliminating either the gap between the two surfaces to reduce the potential difference, or to provide an insulator of adequate electric strength between the two surfaces, or we can provide a low impedance connection between the two surfaces to eliminate the potential difference, or we can have one of the surfaces not grounded so that there will not be creation of dielectric breakdown. Now, the bearing manufacturers generally recommend that bearing should be press fitted to the shaft and conducting greases should be used to eliminate arcing. So these are the methods by which you can eliminate the wear due to electric arc between the two surfaces. Thank you, students.